So let's take a look at this Electrolux. I don't know where the design originated from, but I'm used to seeing it as a Sanitaire Duralite, and I'm guessing from the setup it must have originated with Sanitaire, because it's very similar to a lot of theirs. Well, that and a Eureka Ultra. When I first saw these things, I thought they would have a horizontally mounted motor in them, kind of like a Hoover Elite, a Eureka Bravo, but it turns out these have a vertically mounted motor. It's a lot like a Sanitaire, but you can see the motor, and then I'm missing the top cord hook. Haven't ordered one yet. On-off switch right here. Yeah, it's very, very similar to a Sanitaire. Oh, right, I have to reconnect that belt. I was waiting for the bags to show up, and it's like I didn't want to have the belt on there and kind of stretch it out for no reason. But, you know, it's got the same end caps as the other Sanitaires. As you can see, it has the similar fan setup. I kind of don't really understand the point of this machine. I mean, they, seemingly made it to compete with Auric, but I mean, what was the purpose of, creating these new parts, like the base plate with the wheels built into it, giving it no height adjustment, unlike the other ones. And then, of course, we have some changes, like it has a Z bag in it instead of, the standard F and G or ST or whatever. But, I've noticed that the seal between the bellows and the fill tube here is quite poor, because as I was taking this apart to clean, there was a lot of dust in this area, so clearly that's not well sealed. And I think rather than pulling the bag out, I'm just going to show you guys what they look like. And I know there was a Eureka Z bag, which I believe was used in the Ultra. But I figured, if I can get HEPA, I'll get HEPA. And I think these were supposed to have some sort of little chain almost that goes between the zippers. Huh. Never noticed a date code on the bag before. Not that that matters. But yeah, it's just kind of a weird machine. Go through the trouble of creating, a new base, a new hood, and all that stuff, and you're using a motor that's so similar to what you're using. I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense, I mean, they could have lightened, the standard style Sanitaire a little bit more. Probably putting like a plastic handle on it or something like that, and they could have had a lightweight machine, although I think those are light enough as is. But anyways, all right, we'll take the electrical measurements. You know, I think one of the main problems with this machine is the bellows. I think it's just too narrow and constrictive. Because, I mean, even from a 5 amp machine, we should certainly be seeing a little more airflow than what we're getting. And it's quite obvious when it's in the upright position, because then, the entire thing's kind of forced up against the body like that. So let's lean it back just a little, because I did have this leaned back for the test. So, it's always going to have kind of a fold to it. And then the ridges are quite deep. So, I do think that's part of the problem with this machine. So my opinion on this thing is that it's just not as good as the standard Sanitaire. And I think we can kind of see that reflected in its pickup. Although it has a good amount of airflow to it, the fact that it has no height adjustment, it's not really able to create the vibrations that the other Sanitaires do, because with the other Sanitaires, or a lot of vacuums in general, they create those vibrations by actually lifting the carpet, and then, like via their airflow, they would lift the carpet, and then their brushes or beaters would press the carpet back down, creating that vibrating motion. Now, when I lifted up either end of this, when I rocked it a little bit, we could see a little bit of that happening. And it's a good thing when it does that, because it's also able to draw more air in, due to the gap it's creating between the nozzle plate and the floor. So, I mean, we definitely were not seeing as good of a pickup test from this, and I think it's due to that, because, I mean, if I were to do something that would kind of release its grip on the carpeting, I think it would work a little bit better. I know I've heard some other collectors have modified Sanitaires by drilling small holes in the sole plate. Probably, I think right back here somewhere, which allows them to bleed a little bit of its suction. Or maybe even back here? I'm not really sure. But, the more air that moves through this nozzle, the better it's going to do it, drawing it into the debris path. But if anyone's watching this trying to decide between one of these Duralites or the standard style bag on the back Sanitaire, I would definitely stick to the bag on the back style Sanitaire, because these, I mean, I just don't really see much of any improvements in it. I mean, I do like the Top Fill Z bag, but they're going to be harder to find, and I mean, it wasn't horribly expensive, but just this cleaning performance alone, especially if you're going to deal with, pile carpet like this, I mean, it probably would work pretty well on like a glued down commercial pile carpeting, but if you have something, that's not glued down, then this is definitely not the best Sanitaire to go to.